Hey, I'm Darlene, and today I'm going to give you a peek into my folder of drawings from about 14 years ago. This is going to be pretty embarrassing. Recently, I've been feeling like I haven't progressed with my art, leading to a lack of motivation. And then I stumbled upon some of my old artwork online and thought, even though I haven't drawn any portraits in 3 years, I'm pretty confident that I can draw better than I did 14 years ago. So I'm going to look through this and choose one thing to redraw and talk about some things I learned along my drawing journey. So we have an unfinished piece of artwork here. Clearly I struggled on a few areas and then I just erased it and decided not to continue. 2009, Scarjo. Some of these are barely visible because I was too afraid to shade anything dark. This one's just like one shade of gray. It's so flat. I remember thinking this one was so good. Everything's a little bit off. I was extremely bad at drawing three-quarter faces. Like look how far his eyes are from each other. It would have helped if I were more observant and just studied some basic anatomy. Oh my gosh, this one's so horrible. They got them alien heads. I remember wanting to be a police officer when I was younger, but specifically in Hong Kong. This is a self-portrait, and I only have one eye. It would be fun to draw my self-portrait again. I might do that. I'm having a really hard time deciding which one to draw. Okay, so I'm gonna see if I can even find any of the reference photos, and then I'm gonna pick based off of that. After an entire afternoon, I've decided on this one. I drew this 12 years ago when I was 19. My shading was so messy and inconsistent. Like, look at the cat's fur. And his face looks really flat. Before I start drawing, I'm gonna set a few rules for myself. Number 1, I need to use the same tools I did 12 years ago. That's a sheet of printer paper, this 0.9mm graphite pencil, I think was from the dollar store, and a solid eraser. Rule number 2, no blending, because I didn't do any blending the first time. I think it's good to have these rules in place so I can have a more fair comparison between my drawing skill then versus now. Yeah, I might regret it later. This will take a while, so I'm putting the video in time-lapse. I started by drawing his face, lightly sketching where things should go, trying to get the proportions right. But I haven't practiced portrait drawing in a long time, so I'm extremely rusty. I then moved on to the cat to warm up a little. It just felt less intimidating to draw the cat because I'm not as fixated on achieving likeness for animals. I've always been more interested in drawing people rather than animals, so I have very little practice drawing fur. In version 1, I just scribbled the fur in random directions, something I was consciously avoiding this time around. When it comes to animals, I think frogs, fish, and turtles are the most fun to draw, probably because they're hairless. For the cat's whiskers, I tried to find a sharp edge on the other side of my pencil to create deep indents in the paper, shaped like whiskers. So when I draw over the area, the indents would remain white. It didn't work as well as I wanted because this printer paper is really thin. When I was younger, I used to draw just about everything, but it wasn't until early high school that I started getting into portraiture. I couldn't find any learning material, so I learned from trial and error, which is a super long process. It was fun and frustrating at the same time. I'm kind of bummed that I never kept those earlier drawings because they were so horrible, and I just love tracking my progress. Anyway, later in high school, I started to record my portrait drawing process and play it back. I loved seeing hours of my work play out in just minutes. It was pretty addicting. Here's the video for this portrait from 2009. Not only were my strokes sloppy, I also shaded way too light. I was afraid to press hard, thinking it would ruin my artwork, but the contrast was much needed because my drawings lacked depth. Big time. When I finally got over that fear, my drawings looked so much better. And I didn't do enough observation work, resulting in very inaccurate portraits. I guess that's why I liked recording them from an angle, because you can't really tell how bad it is. And because of that, I forced myself to record the new version from the very front, so I can't hide my mistakes. This time around, I wanted to be more careful with my pencil stroke so my shading would look smooth, especially because I'm not allowed to blend anything. That means keeping my strokes close together, making sure I apply a more even amount of pressure for each pencil stroke, and using the very tip of my lead to fill in any large or weird grooves in the paper. I wanted to take more time to measure and compare everything to get a more accurate result, which is kind of difficult when drawing on a flat surface. It's much easier to draw on a tilted surface to avoid distortion. Also, I wanted to be more bold and shade some really dark values, but it's difficult using an HB pencil because you need to press really hard. It would have been much easier with a soft pencil like a 6B that would just glide across the page like butter, creating dark values without that much effort. But I was determined to stick to my rules. Also, shading a large background using a thin mechanical pencil takes a lot of time because each stroke covers only a small amount of space. I really wanted to improve on the previously scratchy background, but found it so hard to shade smoothly using this pencil because it requires a lot of patience, which I don't have. If you want to learn how to draw portraits, check out Gabrielle Brickey's amazing class called Drawing and Painting Portraits, a guide for artists, which you can find on Skillshare, the sponsor of this video. Skillshare is an online learning community for creative and curious people. You can find topics like illustration, graphic design, fine art, and more. With thousands of inspiring classes, you can explore new skills or deepen your existing passions. In Gabrielle's class, she breaks down the head and individual features with many examples to help you see the underlying structures, so you can use your knowledge of the head and your copying skills to make great portraits. I like that she shows us anatomical landmarks and rhythm lines that we can look for when observing the head. All the things I wish I knew when I was younger. Skillshare classes include a combination of video lessons and a class project where you can submit your work and see what other members have made. Gabrielle's class also includes practice worksheets and references. Skillshare is curated specifically for learning, so there are no ads and they're always launching new premium classes, so you can stay focused and let your creativity lead you. They're offering the first 1,000 of my subscribers who click the link in the description a 1-month free trial, so you can start exploring Gabrielle's class or other fun classes today. Let's get back to the speed drawing. I wanted to do some touch-ups because there are many areas I'm still not happy with, but I ran out of lead and I have no idea where the refills are because this pencil is so darn old. I'm surprised I even found it, but that's probably a good thing because I have a very difficult time knowing when to stop. Anyone else? Alright, so the first drawing from 2009 took me 2 hours to complete. The second version took me a whopping 15 hours and 36 minutes. Like, what the heck? Did I fall asleep halfway? I said I was rusty, but I didn't expect to take double the time that I usually do. Okay, so I was constantly tweaking the facial features and working extra carefully to avoid using the solid eraser. Like anytime I needed to fix something small, I was kind of forced to erase more than I needed. So I guess it all adds up. This is difficult to view head-on because of all of the glare, and the thin paper is warped in a few areas due to the intense amount of pressure used to shade the darkest values. Overall, I'm quite happy with the result. It'd look better if I could blend it to get rid of the graininess though. It's pretty cool to see how much I've improved over the years. I'm still not perfect at drawing 3/4 faces, but I'm definitely a lot better. Sometimes, though, I feel like I haven't made any progress because I tend to compare myself to other people, which paralyzes me. I need to remind myself to just focus on being better than I was yesterday, or in this case, 12 years ago. What I'm most happy about is finally setting time aside for myself to draw a portrait again. It's been 3 years, and it's not the first time I've taken such a long break. I really miss the feeling of putting on my headphones, sitting down and drawing for hours on end, allowing time to just melt away and enter that state of flow. I really enjoyed it and will probably do a video like this again. Let me know if you'd like to see another one. Well, I hope you enjoyed my sketchbook tour and redraw. If you did, please hit the like button and subscribe for more drawing content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.